Hello, today we're going to be building a basic rabbit cage. Keep your rabbits in out on the homestead. And we got here some scrap wood. It used to be a old wooden gate. And we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into the basic structure of the rabbit cage. And basically everything we're going to be using is going to be recycled. The wood's going to be recycled, the nails are going to be recycled out of the wood. Make some measurements and we'll get right to building the rabbit cage. So here we are, we've made all of our measurements. Got all of our scrap wood right here. And all the measurements. This is just leftover pallets that I've taken apart. And some old wooden fence that I've taken apart. The cage is going to be 24 inches by 24 inches. It's going to be about 16 inches high. And then we're going to wrap it in wire. So what we're going to do right now is just take this whole saw and just make our cuts. Alright, so we got all of our cuts made, all of our measurements made. You can see here, we've got 8 24-inch pieces of wood. These are going to make the size for the bottom and the top. And then we got 4 16-inch pieces of wood. And this is going to make the 4 corners to hold your cage upright. Now all we got to do is just put it together. Alright, now here we are, ready to put the cage together. It's pretty easy to put together. Basically you need 2 24-inch boards. You need 2 16-inch boards to start out with, and it goes like this. You lay down your 24-inch boards flat. Take your 16-inch boards, and you line them up so that they're flush with the top of the 24-inch boards, bottom and the top. Like so. And then you hammer them together, and you're going to need to make 4 sides like this. And you hammer them together. Don't use too big of a nails to split the wood. These are pretty good sized nails. And you start out by putting a 16-inch side on the 24-inch side. Just like so. It's going to get stuck. You're just going to have to pull it loose. Take the other 16-inch board, put it on the other side, and do the same thing. Make sure it's flush on the top and the bottom. That nail is a little big, but right now I don't have a big selection of nails. Been doing a lot of building. Quite a bit of rabbit cages already. Try to get them as straight as possible, because these are going to be the base of your whole cage. You want them to be sturdy and straight. Rabbits are pretty strong. They'll actually chew right through their wire. You gotta use special wire for rabbits' cages. And that's it. You make 4 sides just like this, and then we'll be putting them together. In the previous segment, I mentioned that you gotta build 4 of these sides. That was wrong. You actually have to build 2 of these sides, and then 24-inch boards are going to connect them. So we got our 2 sides built. And make sure you bend the nails down on the back of the wood, that way you don't have any injuries for the rabbits or people. And put the bent nails on the outside of the cage. So we turn those to the outside. And we take a 24-inch boards and you connect your two sides together. Again, make sure the wood is flush with the outside so that you have it good lined up. Basically, you do it just like that. Next 24-inch side goes right here, and then you flip the cage upside down. You put two 24-inch boards on the other side, and it will be ready to cover. We got the cage put all together. 24 by 24, 16 inches tall. Now all you got to do, put rabbit wire on the bottom so that they don't drop their legs through and they can't chew through it, and you cover the rest of it in 1-inch chicken wire or rabbit wire, and you got yourself a cage. Alright, next step is we got to work on the bottom of the cage, and the bottom of the cage you want what's called rabbit wire. It looks like this. It's heavy gauge wire, that way they can't fall through it, their legs, they can't chew through it. We're going to use parts from this old rabbit cage here that got chewed up by a rabbit. So this right here is going to be the bottom of our cage. You just got to put it on there. Whatever type of fasteners that you have, I got finishing nails and I'm going to use to put it on with, but you can use U-nails. I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to bend them over. Rabbit's not real heavy, but if you put enough of them around it, it should hold anything in place. So that's the next step in our rabbit cage right there. Alright, once you get the bottom on your cage, since it's 24 by 24, it's going to have a little bowl in the middle of it whenever they walk across it. So you want to make sure that you fix that right there. So you just get you 2 strips of wood about 2 inches wide, 24 inches long. You cut them so that they go on your cage. You don't want to cover too much of the bottom of the rabbit cage because in the rabbit droppings, they got to be able to fall free from the cage. That way their feet stay dry. You can't let a rabbit's feet get all wet, stay wet, because they're susceptible to many diseases. But we're going to take these strips right here and we're just going to nail them down onto this rabbit cage so that they don't move. This is going to help support the bottom of the cage. take both the strips, put them on there just like that right there, then we can move on to wrapping the whole cage with wire. Alright, next step in the building of the rabbit cage is get you some 1-inch chicken wire, and you got to wrap the whole cage and then put a top on it. Then you can work on the door. You don't have to use chicken wire, but that's what I got. So far we've not had any rabbits escape, so sometimes they may try and eat through it, but if you wanted to, you could cover the whole cage with this chicken wire that we talked about, but it's a little expensive, so right now we just going to wrap it in this right here, and we're going to tack it down with some new nails. Like I said, I got some finishing nails and I just bend them over. So we're going to get right to wrap the cage right on up. Once you get the whole rabbit cage covered in chicken wire, and cut off the excess, the last part of the cage, the front of it, you want to leave the chicken wire intact. And you're going to have to cut it right here. And you're going to have to cut it across the top right here. That way you got your front, you got your door. And if you wanted to, you could put wooden slats on the 3 sides so that it's a little more stable. I like to just put nails in and bend them over and then turn them, and it makes it tight on all 4 corners and across the top. But just make sure that you don't tack it there so that you don't have to waste any of your nails. That way when you do your door, it's already loosened up. And then the last part, you're going to take the cage and you're going to take this excess wire across the top and you're going to cut it and just form it to the top so that it looks real good and it's pretty tight across the top. And then all the rest of the wire will be strapped, and that should finish up your cage for your rabbits. Alright, what I did was cut down the 4 corners of the excess that was on top of the rabbit cage. That way it's easier to cover the top of the rabbit cage. Take one piece of it, and you see it doesn't go all the way across. There's a few inches there that needs to be covered. You're going to tack this down like that. You take this piece, and it's going to go back across it like this, double the top, and it's going to cover in that spot right there too. You can tack that down, and then if you wanted to, you could put this across it and really make it pretty sturdy on the top. But a lot of times I just cut that excess off, but if you do that, you just go ahead and tack that down. And that right there will cover the top of your rabbit cage, and nothing will be able to get into it. That makes it pretty sturdy. Okay, now we got the top of the cage done, and it's real sturdy. Looks good. And here's the flap for the front door. Like I said, you could put 3 strips of wood on it like this if you wanted to make a sturdier door. I've never had any problems with my rabbits escaping, so I always just do like a basic door. Just a flap with wire basically, and I take these nails and I drive them into the corners and across the top so that the rabbit can't get out. And whenever I want access to the rabbit cage, I just turn the nails like this and the cage opens. And then you can put it back, and because the nails are bent a certain way, twist your nails, and it pulls this side tight, and the nails on this side will pull this side tight, and the top will be tight, and the rabbit won't be able to get out. And that is how you build a basic Homestead rabbit cage.